What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Sports. I'm your host, Trevor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit that bell notification. It'll let you know when another podcast is uploaded. And we have a little bit of an announcement. We made it already Friday. We're going to make it again today. Daryl, the Guru Johnson from 95.7 The Game will be on this show Wednesday. We have a time slot now. It'll be 4 p.m. when I record it. That means it'll be uploaded to you guys somewhere around 5 o'clock. And super excited to have him on our podcast as our first guest. Okay, today though, we're talking about 49ers. So the first topic is defensive coordinator. We all know the Niners want Saleh back. I think Saleh wants to come back, but he is going to have to interview with a few other head coaching jobs first to decide if he's going to take the DC position or get offered a head coach position. The Niners are putting an offer down on the table to make him the highest defensive coordinator paid in the NFL. That's what the rumor is. It's north of $4.5 million. So right now, Vic Fangio of the Philadelphia Eagles is getting $4.5 million a year. I expect Saleh to get more. But in the meantime, we're going to have to wait while he interviews with a few teams. I do think Sorry, guys. I do think reuniting with the Niners is going to be inevitable anyway, though, and I'm going to break it down right now for why that would be. First interview is going to be with the Jaguars, who have a struggling Trevor Lawrence under the most recent regime that was just let go. Saleh's not a offensive-minded guy, and he's not a QB offensive-minded guy either. He's not a QB guru, which tells me that they're going to be looking in that direction. I don't think he's in with the Jags. I think the Jags are going to go in a different direction, even though they're interviewing with him. Same kind of situation with the Raiders. The Raiders don't have necessarily their quarterback of the future, but they're going to need somebody to come in who's offensive-minded. They do have good defense. Let me back that up. The Raiders had good defense at the beginning of the season and the end of last season, but it did fall off. Either way, they need a lot of work in a lot of areas, and they're going to need an experienced coach with success that can come in and make that happen. And with Tom Brady over there giving his advice, I don't think Saleh's going to be the guy there either. And then the third team would be the Dallas Cowboys, which he might interview sometime this next weekend. But again, the Dallas Cowboys, I think, are looking for a different pedigree. So I don't believe that the Dallas Cowboys are going to go with Saleh. That just leaves Saleh coming back to the 49ers as a defensive coach, getting paid the most money of any defensive coordinator in the league. And I really, really hope this happens, and I really think this is going to happen. It doesn't seem logical for any of those other teams to pick up Saleh right now when they need a little bit more of a experienced coach with pedigree, and Saleh just isn't there for a head coach right now. So, reunion with the Niners makes the most sense. Let's get excited about him coming back because I think that's going to happen. And we got a few other things too. The Niners in the offseason actually are really, really well positioned to turn this ship around and become a championship contending team next year. Number one, nobody's really talking a lot about the Niners and their injuries and those causes as to why they actually didn't make it very far in the season last year. They're talking about it, but they're acting as if those injuries will continue to go forward as of next year. That's not the case, guys. We still have very good players that are coming back that won't be injured. Let's hope the injury bug doesn't last more than a year. But we will have a healthy Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuels, and we have some other players that are coming up. The rookie, Purcell, actually came out of nowhere the last few games and showed his speed, his talent, his ability to run routes very, very effectively. I think Purcell is going to be one of the best wide receivers on this team next year. I do think when you have that loaded roster on offense, there's really some glaring issues you need to handle, and it doesn't have anything to do with offensive firepower at all. And that has a lot to do with your offensive line and your defensive line. Great news with that is the Niners have 10 picks in this NFL draft coming up. They are really well positioned. In the 2025 draft, they have 10 picks, and 4 of them are in the first 3 rounds. Okay? That is going to give the Niners a lot of leeway to go out there and draft defensive linemen, offensive linemen that can come in and possibly play next year. Not only that, their cap space is the 10th most effective cap space in the league. So they have $48.229 million to play with in the offseason to bring in some free agents after the signing of Brock Purdy. Of course, that is basically priority number one, guys. But if you look at where the Niners are going next year and the ability they have to bring in maybe a couple of linemen, maybe a safety. We don't know what's going on with any of the other players on the team yet. We can only speculate. I said I thought Deebo Samuels was going to be gone after this year just because I don't know where he fits in. I'm not really sure I believe that much anymore. I think he may stick around only because his contract is really, really big. And I think I've had a few conversations with people and come to my senses and thought, I'm not sure who's going to pick up that contract for next year. Year after, who knows? But then again, you never know. You might be able to make a trade and get Deebo on a different team for some Pro Bowler or somebody that can come in and make an impact on the offense or defensive line. I like Deebo. He's effective, but he is kind of a jack of all trades, and I don't know where he fits in now that you have Christian McCaffrey on this team. So you don't need him at running back, and your wide receiver core is starting to look pretty good. I don't want them to get rid of Deebo, and if they don't have to, of course, I don't think they will. It's a matter of how much money Brock Purdy is going to get paid and how much is left over for everybody else, and if you need to get rid of anybody. So bottom line is that let's hope they don't have to get rid of anybody, and Brock Purdy signs a contract-friendly deal where a lot of this stuff is on the back end, and it gives the team room to win now still. So some good news there, guys. I didn't realize what the cap space was, and the fact that the playoffs are going the way they are, the Lions lose, the Vikings lose, it gave the Niners some draft picks, basically, that were up in the air. But because of certain situations and how teams played out and how things shuffled, coaches and all that, it worked out for the 49ers to have a stellar position in the draft this year. I mean, guys, it doesn't get much better than 10 picks in the draft and 4 in the first 3 rounds. It's pretty good. It even leaves you some leeway, let's say, to make a trade. They have the number 11 pick overall, okay? That's the first thing. That's really good positioning for getting a lineman, either offense or defensive lineman. I would say when you sign Brock Purdy to this epic deal you're about to, you might want to go ahead and think about signing an offensive lineman, but you do need, it's a double-edged sword here, guys. They need a guy on the defensive line that can help pass rush along with Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa, in my mind, has dropped off quite a bit, but who knows if that's because the rest of the defensive line is just not playing up to par, or is he really dropping off? I've seen a lot of the quarterback sacks in garbage time. I haven't seen a lot when it matters the most. So let's see what happens with Nick Bosa. Hopefully he turns it around and gets some help. Get some pass rushing. We need pass rushing. We need run blocking. Because let me tell you, if anybody watched the 49ers last year, I don't know why more teams didn't key on it, but you could run on the Niners all day long. All day long you could run on the Niners. So bottom line is if you can run on the 49ers and you know it, and more teams are doing it towards the end of the year, they're going to keep doing it next year. We need some linemen up there that can stop the run. We probably need a couple of guys in the secondary, one at least, depending on contract negotiations with other players. But the bottom line is that the most priority positions to look at right here are defensive line and offensive line. We know it. That's where they should go for. If they don't, I'm going to be disappointed because for the last 2 or 3 years, I've kind of felt like that's where they've needed to go anyway. They have the star power in offense. They don't need any more weapons. They have a hard time getting the ball to the weapons that they have already, okay? They've got a lot of guys on the field that want the ball, and there's only one ball. So it's very difficult to get it to all of them. That's not where the money needs to go. That's not where the draft needs to go. The draft needs to go in the positions that are the less popular, not so sexy positions like the lines, offensive line and defensive line, okay? So let's see what happens with that. We don't know what's going on with Greenlaw yet, but we did hear that the Niners most definitely are making him a priority. I believe it. They need to have him back. If you watch that Rams game when he came back last year, or this year, any way you want to say it, the Niners year is over, so I'm going to say last year. But anyway, if you watch that game, you could see very clearly that Greenlaw had a huge impact when he came back. I don't see how you don't sign him. He has been injury prone, so that might affect his contract, but you got to get him back in the Niner uniform. I think. I don't know who else is out there that you replace somebody like Greenlaw with. So let's hope that that comes in the future very soon. So let's watch two things, guys, as we go forward. You're going to hear me every single Monday talk about the Niners. Two things are Brock Purdy signing. That's almost a guarantee. How much it's for and what that contract looks like is the only thing up for debate. Let's hope that Brock Purdy is going to be smart enough to want to win now and negotiate to put a lot of these incentives on the back end of the contract. And let's hope they get Greenlaw. So let's take a look at those two things. Charvarius Ward maybe or may not be back next year. He was playing outstanding when he was on the field. He has indicated he might leave. I hope that's not true. I hope the Niners get it done. Maybe that's just a negotiation tactic. I don't really know. But let's hope that's not true. I would love to see him back in a 49er uniform. This team is a playoff team and a Super Bowl contending team, guys. They were just bitten by the injury bug. That's the bottom line. Injury bug just killed it all. And because of that, people are looking at this team like the dynasty is over. Or you don't want to, I can't call it a dynasty because they haven't won a Super Bowl. But the winning seasons are over and we're going to have to start over. That couldn't be farther from the truth, guys. They're not losing anybody right now. We'll see who might go, but Hargrave is going to go. Javon Hargrave is going to go because the gravedigger just couldn't dig any graves this year, bottom line, and he got hurt, and he wasn't doing very good last year. So is that going to be money off the cap? Definitely. He's going to free up some space. He's going to be gone. He just wasn't effective. So there will be some players you're going to see that are going to be out the door, but your firepower on offense is not going to happen. The only thing you're going to see the offense do is get better. Let's hope that the special teams gets better. I've heard rumors that Sorensen might be brought back as a special teams coach under whoever the next DC is. I personally don't like that idea. I just didn't think he fit with the Niners. If he does, fine, special teams. I'm willing to maybe take a flyer, see how that goes. But definitely want to see Saleh back. I think everybody wants that. I think it's going to happen. I really believe it. It's just a matter of getting over all the interview, so it might take a couple weeks, but I think he'll be back in the building by the end of the month, if you ask me. So let's see where that goes. And guys, thanks for listening to the Niner podcast. It's a short one, about 12 minutes, just because not a lot of news going on with the Niners football, with playoffs rolling through right now. Let's hope Kansas City goes down this coming week. I want the Bills to take them down so badly. So let's see that happen. Let's hope for it. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I don't want to see Kansas City in another Super Bowl or I might throw up. So let's not have that happen. Okay? So remember, guys, Daryl, the Guru Johnson, Wednesday. Super excited. He's going to be here talking Warriors basketball. And hey, like I always say, hard work beats talent when talent don't work. And I'll keep working hard for you guys if you keep watching. See you in the next one.